I'm excited about the GR4 monochrome that's coming out in 2026, but while we wait I thought I'd do a video on the different image controls available and how they stack up against real black and white film. The GR excels in black and white and it has 4 different modes: monotone, soft monotone, hard monotone, and high contrast. Hard monotone has been my favourite over the last 5 years or so. It's contrasty without being quite as crunchy as the high contrast filter, and the red filter effect is really good at separating clouds from blue skies. More recently I've been playing more with the regular monotone image control for images that are already contrasty, where I want to retain as much tonality as possible. But I'd love to find a middle way, something that takes inspiration from a classic film stock like Kodak Tri-X. So today I'm going to compare the Standard Monotone image control to Tri-X before working on a recipe inspired by that film. Tri-X, if you don't know, was a favourite of some of the great photographers of the 20th century, from Gary Winogrand to Don McCullum. The latter was so worried when Kodak went bust that he bought 150 rolls of Tri-X. He told The Economist, "I rang up my stockist and asked for them right away. I thought it was the end of my life." For the comparison shots, I'm going to be using the regular monotone, but I just wanted to show you what's baked into the hard monotone. You've got a slightly low key, so the mids are coming down. It's very contrasty, just like Tri-X, so it's +2 contrast. Not messing with the highlights is good highlight retention, pulling back some of the shadows, a little bit extra sharpening, no toning, and then no shading and no clarity. No grain by default, but obviously Tri-X is known for being kind of gritty and grainy. Just to show you with the toning, this is not filter effects, which would be super useful. For some reason it's toning after the fact. I would have loved it if it was a real red-green filter like you can get on some of the Fuji cameras. So for metering, I sometimes use the highlight weighted metering, which you can get to here. But for this we're going to use matrix metering, which is equivalent of what the Voigtlander Besser 2 is going to be doing. What you can do though is underexpose or overexpose using the plus-minus rocker on the top right of the camera. So that does have an equivalent on the film camera. It's a bit more like for like. You can simply click it in half stops on this particular camera. I'm obviously setting the ISO here to 400, and I'll do the same on my Ricoh so that I can use it for kind of basic metering. There are actually filter effects on the main black and white mode, so it's just below toning. You can go to filter effect. If you press the FM button, you can get one that looks like it says in the top left it's a red filter effect, but it looks like a green filter. This seems like a glitch in the top left. Number 2, you're seeing a slight red filter effect. Adding greens as well, and a bit of blue. Number 3 adds quite a lot of red, some green, and depresses the blue. So that might be an orange filter effect. And this is a classic red filter effect. So plus 120 on red, minus 10 on green and blue. You can also change the settings for these. So I thought we'd go into Lightroom quickly, and I'll just show you quickly what I mean by this black point correction. When you get your image back from the scanner, you can see on the histogram here, there's a little bit of information towards the black, and then they've just done it as a flat scan to make sure that they preserve as much information as possible and they haven't cut anything off. So you can use this tone curve here, push the black point across, and then you get much richer blacks. So when people talk about the rich blacks you get in Kodak Tri-X, sometimes you get your scans back and they look a little bit grey, a little bit flat. That's what they mean. You just want to correct the black point and make sure you're not losing information, but you're pushing the black point to where there still is a bit of information, and then you get the appropriate level of contrast. Equally on highlights, it might look like we've lost some information in this fish, but the highlight retention is actually very good. If you pull down the highlights to something like minus 70, you can see some of the scales coming back here, even though the fish is kind of overexposed because it's metered for the scene, and I didn't think to underexpose the scene. So it's actually pretty similar to what you get from the digital file before pulling back raw information. Obviously you've got a lot more latitude with a raw file. I can pull up the whites, pull down the blacks, I can bring out more highlight detail if I want it. Interestingly, the hard monotone on an image like this I think works really well to match with something like Tri-X, but there are other instances where it won't. I'll show you in a minute. So I just wanted to show you where you've got an image that is already really contrasty, and they basically pulled as much as they can out of the scanner. There's pretty much, the black point is already set here. There's not much more information that they could have got on either side of it, so they've given us all that there was. I really like this guy walking in front of the sort of sunspot, that beautiful advert, and you've got a kid skateboarding in the background being helped by his dad. If I was doing this in RAW and I was trying to match Tri-X, I'd probably I'd set the blacks lower. Obviously, if we're making a recipe, a JPEG recipe for the camera, we won't be able to individually manipulate whites and blacks, so we just have to go for contrast. But with something like grain, I think you've got a gritty sort of grainy feel to Kodak Tri-X, which people love. I think you're talking about probably 33 grain, 30 to 40 size in Lightroom. So that's probably equivalent to size 2 intensity 1 on Ricoh's grain effect. I wouldn't really personally go above intensity 1. I think it starts to look really snowy when you're going with the Ricoh version, but you could maybe push it up to size 2. So just to show where hard monotone I think can be a really stark effect, you can see those very, very dark skies. If I switch it to regular monotone, the camera version of monotone, you can see the sky is much brighter. So the bird is popping out, you've got a dark bird there, but you're losing some of the cloud detail. By contrast, if you go to hard monotone, you're pulling down the blues of the skies, so the blue light basically isn't getting through the red filter. It's like the opposite of the type of light that's going to be allowed through. So it can give these amazing moody effects. I really like it for that, but it means it's not quite as universal. If I was editing a black and white image completely from scratch, probably what I would do is, so you can see Hard Monotone here is kind of slightly blowing out his skin. You have to really pull down the highlights in order to get back some of his face. It's slightly overexposed in the face. If I went to Adobe Monochrome, I could use this black and white mixer to manipulate each individual color. So if I was doing RAW editing, this is probably the way I would do it. Go to Adobe RAW, mess around with the individual sliders, and basically come out with a bespoke color mix that's going to really suit this scene. For instance, if I want his hat to be darker, I wanted to pull out some more of the detail in that bag that he's holding. So this is a great way to do it. It's probably the best control you're going to get, but obviously it's much more time consuming. Just to show you a really obvious example of where the Hard Monotone really doesn't work in my opinion, I'll compare these. So on the left you've got the RAW file from the GR, on the right you've got the Tri-X, and it's basically made this flag look completely different. I mean, it's quite an unusual effect. I think sometimes it can work really well, but for something like the Union Jack, it doesn't really work. So I think it's worth thinking about with something like this. I would probably go for the regular. If you're shooting in RAW as well as JPEG, there's a RAW development module inside the camera, so you can redevelop any photo that you want with any of the image controls. It's baked into the JPEG, but it's not baked into the RAW file in the same way. So you always have that option. And then you can, if you find that there's one particular image you want to redo, you can redo it. This is probably my favorite film photo I took from the day. I really like the quality of the light. I really like the high contrast, the advert in the background, and that kind of, it actually was bokeh on the advert. So let's take that as inspiration for this picture that I've taken. I actually think positive film would probably look pretty good on this as well, but let's stick with black and white for now. So we're going to use the monotone and just stick to adjustments that I could do using the camera itself to create a recipe. So I think the first thing we're going to do is pull the mids down slightly in the same way as Hard Monotone does. So that would be the equivalent of -1 low key, adding the equivalent of probably 2 contrast. Leave the highlights where they are for now, because that's quite true to the Tri-X look. Pull up the shadows a bit, because I do want some shadow detail. And then I'm going to add 10 clarity. I think this gives that really punchy, contrasty look that I'm going for. It's actually more subtle in this picture. And then I'm adding 33 grain with a roughness of 50. And I think that is exactly the kind of look I'm going for. You might want to add filters. There's a filter option, which I just found out in the black and white mode. So I'm going to put a recipe up on here. If you like it, like the video. If you want to see more like this, then obviously subscribe. And I think the next one up will be my positive film video. Thanks guys.